Okay, I just hit record. So, who's going to start us off?
Oh, I had to mute ESPN. Who's got it this week?
It's me.
All right, Paulo.
Pablo, with his mouth full.
No, it's me.
Okay. You got to do the soccer announcer.
No, not soccer. Buenos días, amigos. Good morning. So, hi from the sunny Lima. I know you are
sunny Lima.
Enjoying the winter, no? That I would like to have winter as soon as possible.
Sunny Lima.
So, good morning, Sad. Good morning, Jared. Kid.
Good morning, Pablo. Sunny Lima. You just had to rub the weather in our face is what you're trying to do. You're trying to say,
yeah,
it's 100 degrees down here and it's 55 degrees in Paintsville and like 43 degrees in Missouri. Right, Keith?
Yep. Yeah, a little bit different. Pablo said hi to Jared, but we've got Jared Gaines on with us this morning. No, I don't want to update my Flash player right now. What? That was just rude.
Welcome to our podcast.
So before we started recording, we were talking about the coronavirus and Pablo's near exposure in the hospital that he. Yeah. So okay. So I heard of I'm not going to mention any names, but I heard of a school this morning that is closed for the rest of the week for sanitizing because a student teacher possibly came in contact with somebody who possibly could spell coronavirus. You know,
those student teachers, man, causing all kinds of problems. That's what they're doing.
But it wasn't even direct contact, but they ended up closing the school to sanitize it because of. I don't know what their protocols were. I don't know. This may have been something mandated by the state or
right.
whatever, but it was, we're going to clean it before anybody actually has it.
Right.
So we're ready. I mean, we've got a clean surface to work with.
Yeah. We don't have any schools shut down, but we do. Our nursing homes are shut down. State-run nursing homes, executive order yesterday by the governor, shut them down. You can no longer visit at this time. So
that's not a bad move.
No. You want to protect those elderly people who are susceptible to things anyway. I feel bad though because Alifair and Dorothy, they're going to be over there by themselves, not being able to have anybody visit them. We visit them every Sunday, so you're not going to have anybody to visit them this week or perhaps the next week. But I think it's a good thing as well. I think it protects them and keeps them from getting ill.
They need to give them iPads so that people can still FaceTime them or whatever.
Yes,
that way
that's a great idea.
Without spreading the germs.
Maybe that's part of the $8.3 billion that is part of the package to
right.
the spread of $8.3 billion.
None of our high schools or school districts, but our colleges, Berea College, shut down for the rest of the semester.
That seems to be the pattern.
Yeah.
I know of another school that is they're going to make the decision by the end of spring break whether they know that if they resume classes it will be online only, but they don't know that they're going to resume classes.
Right.
I heard that Yale's moved to online.
Ivy League tournament's canceled. Next thing you know, March Madness will be canceled. It'll be a depressing time in the month of March.
Italy, of course, Italy is being affected a lot more than pretty much anybody right now.
It's on quarantine, no? Quarantine?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, they've got a travel ban imposed now. But a week or two ago, Italy went to spectatorless sporting events. All professional sports were they banned spectators from attending those events.
The country of Italy has more cases, or has the most cases outside of the country, or outside of China. So the entire country is quarantined.
That one was pretty close. It's lightning.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just having a rough time over there today.
It'll, you know, if you don't like it,
This
wait
too
a
shall
couple
pass.
hours. You know, I think the sun's supposed to shine this afternoon, so you know.
Yeah.
Well, then, if we suddenly turn off, then we're not mad. It's just because we got struck by lightning.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
I was just wondering personally if Jared misses the weather in Florida. I was just if he misses it yet. You know what I mean?
Man, I missed that about day 2, the temperature.
He got there and he instantly missed it.
Oh, no. The first month, it was like the 20s and 30s every day and rainy. And then now it's
Oh,
in the
it's
50s
nice.
sometimes.
I like that weather.
Big adjustment.
okay, so please understand, dear listeners, that we are speaking from a position of pure ignorance.
Yeah.
We're not experts. We're not claiming to be experts, but with this coronavirus thing, we are, you know, being told to limit public gatherings and things of that nature. Honestly, I've not been in Walmart in like 3 weeks.
You doing a cleanse from there too?
I guess I am. Yeah. The Facebook cleanse is just going admirably.
Admirably.
I've not missed it.
You'll be back. You'll come
There's
back.
nothing to miss. There's nothing to miss, but we, you know,
He
that's
keeps telling him that. He keeps
so,
telling
you know,
himself that, but he'll be back.
they're, you know, schools. I'm wondering when, yeah, because I've not heard churches mentioned anywhere in anybody's discussion, and so, you know, understand we are speaking from a position of even more ignorance than normal. And so that's a lot of ignorance.
That is a lot of ignorance.
But I'm wondering how many churches, and again, this is from ignorance. We don't have a protocol in place, although I suspect that we will have very shortly, like maybe even by the end of the week. But, you know, just making a plan, if this progresses like they're saying, what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to treat it? And, you know, because churches are, you're in close contact with people. And by the way, we had a member that was having surgery on Monday morning, and I went to visit her before her surgery. And she was saying, you know, they say that if you're close enough to someone to smell their breath or their perfume, you know, that
You're too close.
You're too close. And she said, I'm going to stop brushing my teeth and I'm going to stop bathing. And, you know, I'm going to increase that bubble, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, we go into church and what do? We shake hands, we hug, and I love it. That's great. That's the way that it's supposed to be.
Thunder.
Yeah, a little bit of thunder there.
So we went from slight rain with Keith Valet parking other people at the church building.
I did.
So now we've got lightning.
Did you see me?
And now we've got thunder.
Yeah.
It's slowly progressing out there.
Yeah, you like my window? You know, it's very gloomy out there. But,
yeah.
It's kind of a gloomy painting, isn't it?
It's very depressing. I thought you noticed that, but I guess not.
Well, my back's always to it, so
you kind of look like you're in a gray room. It's just real. It's very dull. No color.
The walls are actually a bluish green. They're not gray, but
looks gray.
No, it's
Maybe
actually
I'm colorblind.
a very cheerful room, or it was till you cast that cloud of doubt upon it. But anyway, how are we going to respond to this? And you know, when we look at what other entities are doing, we take for example these universities that are shutting down. Right. This university that I'm talking about, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't have any direct association. All I'm hearing is what my daughter is telling me. But she said that spring break, I think, starts tomorrow and goes through next week.
My spring
And
break's this week.
she said that this school sent out an email saying if you leave the country over spring break, you will not return to classes, period, for the rest of the semester.
Right.
And now they're saying online classes only after, if they resume classes at all.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we hear, you know, stories like the student teacher, and then we hear stories like Pablo wandering into the coronavirus containment zone there in his hospital. You know, they could have put
accidental
a sign up,
exposure.
didn't they, Pablo?
Yeah, accidental exposure.
So, and then, you know, we've got all other kinds of questions because, you know, we've got the campaign coming up here in, you know, we're inside of 90 days now when the campaign's going to occur. And we don't know if, you know, we're going to end up with travel bans, travel
vans. We're gonna ride in the travel van. Oh my goodness, Keith.
Travel ban turned into a tribal van. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with those things, but how are we going to deal with it within our congregations? Because, you know, I don't know that it will ever be a factor here or where you are, or honestly, of the three of us, 3 locations, Pablo is probably in greater risk of exposure than we are.
Yeah.
You know, just living in a city of 12 million people, you know.
Like I said, I don't want to speak to the severity of it because I don't know much about it. All I know about is that it is spreading. It's in the United States now. There are 8 cases, I think, in the state of Kentucky. Berea College has shut down for the remainder of the semester. They will not be doing in classes. I think a lot of the other universities are talking about moving to online classes only. You've got a lot of talk going on about sporting events and things of that sort. And if people are taking that much caution, I do believe that we need to have some contingencies in place for our congregations. I really do believe that. I think we need to have some plans in place that if this does occur in the area that we live in, like I live in a county, Johnson County has about 25,000 people in it. Paintsville city limits has about 4,000, maybe 5,000, but there's not a lot of people here. And it seems to be hitting larger populations before it hits smaller populations. And we may not have any cases here in Johnson County. You may not have any cases there in Sikeston, Peru. I don't know if there are any cases down there. I've not read anything about that, but we don't know where it's going to go. How many?
11.
Okay, so we don't really know how severe this is going to get, how many people are going to contract COVID-19 is what they're calling it, or anything of that sort. But I think we do need to have plans in place just in case something does happen, because we plan for things all the time. We have plans in place for ice storms and tornadoes and all of these other things. We have security plans in place in case something happens, security reasons and security-wise. If somebody walks in and they have a weapon or something of that sort. We've seen that happen multiple times in congregations, unfortunately. But we have all these other plans in place. I think it would be wise to have a contingency or some sort of plan or some sort of thought about a plan that way we're going to deal with the coronavirus just in case it does hit our area and it hits it pretty hard.
Zach takes off and all we can do is wait for him to stop and take a drink. You know?
That drink was good.
I was just sitting here thinking about, you know, if we're going to follow the pattern of schools and that sort of thing, you know, if it were to hit us, then it sounds like what progressive churches are already doing to kind of make people more comfortable, whatever, is the step of security, because you have, if you want to break people into small groups, you do it that way, or have online services and just have the preacher from his office and song leader from his office, and they all get together and everybody just watches from online or something like that.
So I think that's a possibility. but I would hope that that would be the extreme, you know, and certainly I think of those birds on the hood of my truck. two doves on my truck.
Hood ornaments.
In the middle of the pouring rain. Oh, they're going to leave an ornament before they leave, I guarantee you.
We want to thank our listeners for listening to this podcast this week. Birds, coronavirus, and weather.
If you
Coronavirus.
Oh,
if you were to actually start making a plan, I think that would have to be on there to where we are either going to go to small groups or we are going to go to some kind of online, format. And, we're kind of here at Shady Acres, we're kind of in a position to do that pretty easily, because of the technology that we already have in place. But a lot of places don't have that technology in place to be able to do that easily. But let's back up a step. Let's come here to Wednesday, March 11th. If you're going to come to Bible study tonight, which I hope you are, what are you going to do? And these are just basic, simple things that we need to be aware of. Number one, if you're not feeling well, now would be a good time to stay home. And I know people that I haven't missed a worship service in 64 years,
There are a lot of people like that. Yeah. If I'm sick, I'm still going.
Their dedication is admirable.
Yeah.
That must be my word of the day, admirable.
You said that multiple times today.
Yes, I have. And yes, I can spell it.
That's a $5 word.
And this was a discussion that took place yesterday, talking about something different, but the risk of the coronavirus seems to be less in healthier people. Makes sense, right? But there are some people, those with heart disease, lung disease, cancer. If somebody is on cancer and they're on medication for that cancer, something that is knocking down their immune system, they're very susceptible to having much more severe effects from this. And the discussion that was going on yesterday was that, that there was an event that was planned, and it was actually a trip. And some of the younger ones were like, well, let's go on. But then somebody said, wait a minute, if we say we're going on, that may cause some of the ones whose health is not quite so good to say they're going to go on also. And that would be, sort of peer pressure would put them at risk.
Right.
And, we need to be especially considerate of others through this. It's you may not feel so bad that you have to stay home, but you could be putting someone else at risk, and so that consideration for others needs to come into play. Now, I hate saying these words. I hate saying these words because I like shaking people's hands. I like giving hugs to, some of our older members. It just,
right.
It's just who I am and what I do. But now is a great time to limit those physical contacts because of consideration for them, not just, and
right.
And I've always tried to be considerate of others. And I think when, I go into the worship service on Sunday or Wednesday or whatever, I am probably the biggest spreader of germs there because I'm touching everybody or everybody.
Yeah, you're a big spreader of germs.
Yeah. And so
there's a handshaker and a hugger.
And so I've got the hand sanitizer out all the time, but still that's an awful lot of contact. And so
Well, as you're speaking about churches, Governor Beshear here in the state of Kentucky just had a press conference and called for churches to cancel services in the state of Kentucky to halt the coronavirus. Yeah, along with all state prisons will be closed to visitors. I like how you put churches and state prisons in the same sentence. Oh goodness! But anyway, so
that is an interesting development.
Yeah.
But we need to give consideration to this, and I think that first step is obviously limit physical contact and respect other people's space as we are going forward with this. And you know what? There are some people even more so than I am who enjoy that physical contact. Just it is a way of it is the modern version of greeting one another with a holy kiss. And I always remember Brother Curtis Kate saying, if you're going to greet somebody with a kiss, keep it holy. But as we're thinking of this, we need to maybe it would challenge us to find other ways to let our love be known to one another.
Right.
Because that's something that Jesus was very adamant about, was letting our love be known to one another. And we may be challenged here to find new ways of doing that.
Right. Well, and you can look at it from that perspective, as we hug and some people do greet with a holy kiss, and we shake hands and we tell people that we love them. But a lot of times I've come into contact with people in the church before who have made the statement that they felt like nobody cared and nobody really loved them as much as they said that they did. And there's a lot of people who feel like, just because you tell me that you love me on Sunday, just because you tell me that you love me on Wednesday, doesn't really mean that you love me. And I think we should be making a concerted effort all the time to find various ways to show other people that we do love them, that we do value them, and stop just resorting to the old tactics of giving them a hug and letting them know that we love them and shaking their hand and things of that sort. We got to serve one another better in the church.
And that may be something good that can come from this whole mess, is that we are challenged to love one another better.
Right.
And, as a parent, and Jared and I are both parents.
How many kids do you got, Jared?
Two.
How old?
3 and 1.
Precious. Keith's are all grown up and not so precious anymore.
Yeah. I used to tell people I had 4 kids and 3 of them were good, and that 4th rotated around. At any given point in time, 3 of them were going to be good.
And we all know who the favorite is.
Yeah. But anyway, back to this discussion. What I was saying was, as parents, we come to realize that love may not follow the stereotypical ways of loving, and that love sometimes takes some difficult forms.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be one of those times where love needs to take a more difficult form. And it's that really, with the governor coming out and making that request, and at this point it is a request, as I understand it.
It's just he was just urging them. He can't obviously mandate that they close services, but he was urging churches in Kentucky to close.
Well, I guess technically, legally, he could.
Right.
but you know, within limitations.
Right.
But you know, we certainly hope it doesn't come to that.
Right. Well, the foundation of all of this really is avoid large crowds,
Right.
and avoid elderly folks who are more susceptible to it than maybe younger folks. And so that's the foundation of all of it.
And so what that is doing, that's putting you in a pickle.
Right.
Because you know, you have that obligation to respect the elderly and
Yes.
respect those who are more susceptible, but at the same time you have the obligation to shepherd the flock.
Right.
And you know, so that may turn out to be a challenge of restructuring the flock somewhat.
Yeah.
You know, in order to meet those needs. It'll be curious to see how all of this plays out.
I'm curious to see how congregations of the Lord's Church react to a situation like this, to see how they go about dealing with it. And
last Sunday,
when
we were on the break time, one of the sisters, you know, as Peruvians, we greet very effusive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
With the kiss on the chin, we hug.
Yeah.
And this,
we know.
Yeah, this lady came to me and said, Brother Pablo, we should use just, you know, touching elbows. I say, okay, as soon as our greetings are sincere or honest, that's okay. I say, no.
I saw, no, actually, I didn't see it. Somebody was telling me about a video of two Chinese doctors who met one another, and, you know, they're both wearing masks, and they're both, you know, not wanting to touch. And they ended up both raising their right feet and tapping them together. And that was their form of greeting. But yeah, it may be an elbow bump night, you know.
Right. Yeah. Give a couple elbow bumps. Yeah, no more fist bumps, no more handshakes, just some elbow bumps.
We always got the good old head nod.
You do have the good old head nod. A lot of people overlook the head nod, but it conveys a good message, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It can convey a lot of different things.
Right. Or the shoulder bump. You can do the shoulder bump too, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Is that a thing? Shoulder bump? Is that a
like an elbow tap?
Elbow tap.
Yeah.
No, I guess let's go with the elbow tap. We'll go with the elbow tap.
That's going to be the let's talk about Christianity recommendation, the elbow tap.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know people who handshake too. When they handshake, they grab the wrists. So maybe that would be a form of handshake that would be approved.
I also can't include the chest bump like a touchdown celebration.
Well, that's getting a little too much contact.
You're getting, I don't know. Keep it holy. You know, keep it holy.
Keep it holy.
I don't know.
Or it's the same gender.
Okay.
I hope we greet one another like a touchdown celebration. That's great.
Anyway, obviously, each congregation is going to have to deal with this in its own way, and each congregation is going to know what's best for that congregation. But please be giving some thought to this, and please be respectful of others. And you know, I went. Jared and I actually went into a nursing home yesterday, and we were visiting a guy, and one of the other members came in while we were there, and she wanted me to shake her hand, and I'm like, I've not touched anybody all day today. You know, and I'm like, fine, you know.
Fine.
He also gave her a hug on the way out too.
Keith is a handshaker and a hugger and a fist bumper and an elbow tapper, I guess.
It's also the same person whose car I just parked, you know, when pulled up in the rain a few months ago. But you know.
Anyway.
So we gave a lot of opinions, speaking from a position
a whole lot of opinions,
and provided nothing of actual value to you this week. But everybody, please stay safe, and we're going to have to wrap this up. We're running out of time here.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
20 seconds. Do you know how long 20 seconds is to wash your hands? It feels like forever, but do it.
All right, do it.
Yeah, do it. So, okay. Thank you very much for listening. We've got to go, and we will hopefully all see you next week, and not from a hospital room.
Not from
No, we hope.
Yeah, that's right. All right. See you next week.
Uh,
Okay.